She was forced to live on her own as a child and accused of defrauding her adoptive parents. It may sound like a horror movie, but this is the disturbing true story of Natalia Grace. Despite all of the debate and legal cases surrounding Natalia Grace, a large volume of official documents prove that she was born where and when she says she was. According to a birth certificate, a detailed medical history, documents relating to her adoption history, and a statement from her biological mother, Anna Gava, giving up her rights as her legal mother, Natalia was born in Ukraine on September 4, 2003. As for Gava, she was born in Latvia in 1979 and later moved to Ukraine. She was unable to provide the high level of specialized care needed to properly take care of her daughter, who was diagnosed with an exceedingly rare health condition from a young age that affects the spine and bones, limiting growth and leading to a permanent short height. Those with the condition also retain a youthful appearance into adulthood, as well as other skeletal issues. Around the time that her daughter turned 5 years old in 2008, Gava allowed her to be adopted. Somewhat overlooked in Natalia Grace's story are her first adoptive parents in the United States. Diane and Gary Ciccone declined to participate in the documentary series The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, nor are they included in the fictionalized Hulu show Good American Family. Relatively little is publicly known about them beyond the fact that they brought Natalia into their family around 2009, when she was about 6 years old. Less than 2 years later, though, the Ciccones sought to relinquish their parental rights with the goal of sending Natalia to another family. Chief among their concerns was that the adoption agency hadn't told them about Natalia's significant medical issues and how expensive they would be. The couple footed the bill for one necessary surgery and then decided that they couldn't afford to take care of her any further. They then apparently arranged a private, unregulated adoption with Michael and Christine Barnett of Florida. While the Barnetts claimed that they used Good Shepherd Adoptions to aid in the adoption, the agency denied having any involvement, as it's not licensed to operate in the Ciccones' home state of New Hampshire or the Barnetts' home state of Florida.
We're overcome with joy and emotion. Oh my gosh, that day in and of itself, without context, is one of the 5 greatest days of my life.
According to the Barnetts, after they adopted Natalia Grace in 2010, they started to notice some alarming behavior. As Christine told the Daily Mail, she was jumping out of moving cars, she was smearing blood on mirrors, she was doing things you could never imagine a little child doing. Some of these frightening incidents allegedly included threats and violent language. As Christine recounted, she would make statements and draw pictures saying she wanted to kill family members, roll them up on a blanket, and put them in the backyard. At some point, Natalia's outbursts allegedly turned physical. Christine ran a daycare center out of her home in Westfield, Indiana, and she claimed that she once witnessed Natalia violently assaulting a toddler. Christine also secured all the sharp objects in their house after one incident. As she further alleged, Natalia was standing over people in the middle of the night. You couldn't go to sleep. I started putting chemicals, bleach, Windex, something like that in my coffee, and I asked her, "What are you doing?" She said, "I am trying to poison you." Christine also claimed that during a birthday party in 2012, Natalia tried to shove her mother into an electric fence. Shortly thereafter, the Barnetts committed her to a state psychiatric center that specialized in treating violent behavior. The alleged violent behavior wasn't the only thing that seemed amiss about Natalia Grace. Soon after the Barnetts adopted her, Christine saw some things that suggested that the girl was older than 6. As she recalled to the Daily Mail, "I was giving her a bath and I noticed that she had full pubic hair. I was so shocked." Christine also claimed that Natalia acted like a young adult, as she wasn't interested in toys and enjoyed hanging out with teenagers. She also claimed that Natalia spoke fluent English and peppered her speech with big words, didn't understand Ukrainian, and couldn't recall any details about her country of birth. She also found bloodied garments in a garbage can, suggesting that Natalia was menstruating in secret. All of these details led to the couple believing that Natalia wasn't actually a young child.
She's got a monthly cycle, and she's hiding it.
A clinical therapist who treated Natalia claimed that she admitted that she was 18 during a session in 2012. Meanwhile, bone density test results pinned her age at 14, while the Barnetts' family physician also believed that their daughter was a fully grown imposter. This all led to the Barnetts asking the Marion County Superior Court to amend the birth records, with the revised documents placing her birth year as 1989 instead of 2003. After Christine and Michael Barnett successfully petitioned a judge to change Natalia Grace's legal birth year, and after she was discharged from a mental health care treatment facility, the couple transitioned their adoptive daughter into living independently. They rented an apartment in Westfield and moved Natalia there in 2013. They set her up with state-funded health care and helped her apply for a social security number identification, government benefits, and food stamps, while also buying furniture and a stockpile of canned goods. At this point, as far as the law was concerned, Natalia was an adult and therefore responsible for herself, although Christine offered to pay for her living expenses, but only for a year. Within a few months, Natalia was evicted from the apartment due to bad behavior. The Barnetts then set up Natalia in a second apartment in the nearby town of Lafayette. The Barnetts then moved away to be closer to their 21-year-old biological son Jacob, who was in school in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
Did you agree to go to Lafayette? No, I didn't know where we were going. She just took me.
From 2013 to 2014, when Natalia Grace was living alone in Lafayette, a neighbor became aware of her situation and connected her with Cynthia Manns. Natalia then moved in with Manns and her husband Antoine and their large brood of foster children. The Mannses didn't notice any of the violent tendencies Natalia supposedly demonstrated with the Barnetts. However, she did allegedly bite the man's infant daughter. As Antoine explained on The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, I would say she has been violent in a typical way like most kids do. Most kids fight, most kids argue, but nothing unusual to where there was just crazy unrest in that sort of way.
There's nothing dangerous about Natalia at all. Absolutely not.
Sometime in 2023, Natalia became dissatisfied with her life in the Manns household and accused her adopted parents of holding her against her will. On top of this, the Mannses had a financial interest in being Natalia's legal caregivers. A lawyer working with Michael Barnett discovered that the Manns family's singular income source consisted of payments given to foster caregivers to offset the cost of raising children or people with disabilities. After Natalia left the Mannses in 2023, Christina contacted her to see if she would continue receiving her charges' Social Security payments. An investigation revealed that since 2014, Natalia had received a $700 monthly benefit stipend, all of which was given directly to the Mannses. Antoine and Christina Manns applied to be Natalia Grace's legal guardians in 2016 and adopted her in June 2023. But by that December, Natalia had engineered an escape plan. Friends of the family and neighbors allegedly witnessed instances of child abuse, including using a belt as a weapon and locking kids in rooms. Natalia refused to deny or confirm that those incidents ever took place, though she did allege that the Mannses exhibited controlling behavior and didn't allow her to speak with anyone that they didn't approve of. Either way, Natalia managed to stay in contact with a couple named Nicole and Vince DePaul, who have both been diagnosed with forms of dwarfism. They attempted to adopt Natalia in 2009 after her time with the Chichconis and before the Barnetts' involvement. Nicole's daughter Mackenzie drove down from New York State to Nashville in December 2023, and then Natalia fled her accused captors by waiting at a church after telling her siblings that she'd join them inside. Mackenzie brought her back to her family's home where she's lived ever since.
Natalia begged us to come get her.
Adjusting to life with another adoptive family was still a monumental adjustment for Natalia Grace. Initially, the main roadblock to a happy ending was the Mannses' persistence in trying to reclaim custody of her. As Nicole DePaul recalled to People magazine in 2025, they were calling Natalia constantly and trying to wheel her back in. It was just this constant thing where we were walking a fine line of not doing too much. See, she just came from this house that basically was ruled by a dictator, so I didn't want to tell her what to do.
She's done other things too, but this was a new low.
Natalia also reportedly exhibited strange behavior. At one point, she recorded the DePauls going about their daily business in their home without their knowledge. The incident blew over, and Natalia entered extensive therapy to help her cope with the effects of everything she'd been living through. A doctor diagnosed her with reactive attachment disorder, a behavioral condition often observed among people who have spent time in group homes or have gone through the adoption system. Even before the Barnetts moved Natalia Grace into an apartment, their actions aroused the attention of law enforcement. In 2012, police investigated the family on behalf of the FBI and immigration officials for discrepancies surrounding Natalia's international adoption. The federal agencies later quietly dropped the case, though they noticed the possibility of false age reporting and immigration fraud dating back to Natalia's departure from Ukraine. In 2019, the Barnetts entered pleas of not guilty to charges of neglect of a dependent, having left Natalia behind before their move to Canada. 3 months later, additional charges of neglect of a dependent resulting in bodily injury were added, with the allegation that the Barnetts hadn't provided Natalia with the pain-relieving surgeries she needed to treat her dwarfism. Charges against Christine Barnett were dropped due to the statute of limitations passing. Furthermore, prosecutors chose to ignore the age-related matters and instead pursue a case alleging neglect of a person with a disability. Michael Barnett was ultimately acquitted of his charges as well. Christine and Michael have since divorced. Amidst all this legal wrangling, Natalia's biological mother eventually emerged. Anna Gava was born in 1979, thus making a birth year of 1989 for Natalia highly unlikely. Additionally, birth and hospital records from Ukraine backed up a 2003 birth date. Some horror movies have real-life inspirations, but in the case of Natalia Grace, it appears that the reverse might be true.
You've adopted a kid and now they're trying to kill you. I mean, it's the stuff of a horror movie, right?
If the actions of Christine and Michael Barnett sound familiar, that's probably because they pretty closely follow the plot to the 2009 horror movie Orphan. The film stars Isabel Fuhrman as Esther, an adult woman who hails from a former Soviet republic and has a condition that gives her the height and appearance of a child. She's adopted by an American family who eventually start to suspect that Esther isn't really who she claims to be. An Orphan couldn't have been inspired by Natalia's story, considering that she didn't arrive in the United States until 2010, a year after the film's release. The timeline may be instrumental to unlocking certain chapters of this saga. Christine Barnett has claimed that Natalia tried to kill her on multiple occasions, while also putting her family at serious risk. But Natalia believes that Christine's allegations of age falsification and violent attacks were taken whole cloth from Orphan.
The things that Christine and Michael have said that I've done is a lie. It was all copied off the movie Orphan.
If you or someone you know may be the victim of child abuse, please contact the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD, 1-800-422-4453, or contact their live chat services.